Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's going to be reviewing the Toyota Prius with all-wheel drive. This is one of the best new cars you can buy. We'll talk about it in today's video. Before we get into this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Carl Malone Toyota here in Draper, Utah, for giving me some time with this Prius. I'll include a link to their website in the description down below. Also include a link to my car buying guide as well. Let's get into it. So under the hood, we have a 2-liter 4-cylinder that's paired to an eCVT. Fuel economy is 49 around town and then 50 on the highway, with power outputs being 196 horsepower combined. Now, before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention if you're into some more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Now, when it comes to styling, the new Prius looks really sharp, if you ask me. You can see here with the body lines around the hood and then the cool turn signal indicators as well, parking sensors here at the bottom, and just a really cool look. And for the 25 model year, they're actually adding a nightshade edition, so you can make it look even more sporty. And then around the side here, our tire wheel setup is 195 by 50 by 19 in the front and over in the rear. You can see here with the wheels, you've got the silver trim there, some darker trim as well. You got these nice painted fender flares, you got the all-wheel drive badge, and then we have the new sleek side profile, which, look at that! For a Prius, it's cool looking. Now this leads us to the key fob, where we have our lock and unlock function, if it'll focus on that. Pretty straightforward setup. Says Prius on the back, by the way. And then this leads us into the rear. So it is manual for the hatch operation, but we've got decent amount of storage space here in the back with the Prius. Again, it's not a massive car. This is just a little bit bigger than a Corolla, so it's nice for what it is. Anyways, when you're all done, just plop. Now this leads us to the rest of the rear. You've got this cool light bar design here on the back. You can see XLE AWD, parking sensors there at the bottom. But yeah, the Prius looks cool. Now this leads us inside, where we've got this nice soft touch trim down below. The door panel is hard touch here at the top of this package. But even with the XLE, you can still get really nice seats here. See, perforated all down the center. Now quick to get in, you got to squeeze in just a little bit. Legroom's not too bad. We've got some USB ports there at the bottom, little storage net here. And then we actually get a sunroof here for the rear passenger, which is interesting. Headroom's not the best in the Prius, but I mean, I fit back here. And then popping up front, you can see here with the soft touch trim down below, we've got all of our window controls, mirror adjustments, blind spot monitoring with the mirrors. And then here's the front seat. Again, nice trim. And power adjustments on the side. And then we've got like the heated steering wheel here. And then it's interesting with the dash setup. Now taking a look at the steering wheel, you can see soft touch all around. A bunch of practical controls with this. So we've got controls for the center, phone controls, voice command controls. We've got our cruise controls here on the other side. It does have adaptive. And then we've got the stalks there in the back. And then yeah, we've got the gauge cluster. I've already talked about this in other reviews. I'm not a huge fan because look at this. You just can't really see it because the steering wheel spoke gets in the way, but at least it has all the information you need to see on the car. So the information is fine. It's just how this is located is not great. Just a backup camera in reverse, nothing crazy with that. And then Toyota's new infotainment system. So they've got this in all their cars now. It's quick to respond. Everything's easy. It's got a volume control on the one side. And then they still give you some physical controls. So with this, you got the heated seats. I think you have to do the limited package to get the cooled seats with the Prius. Got some USB ports down below, a little bit of storage underneath that. Some cup holders here. Shifter there for the eCVT phone charging pad area. Drive mode select here. We've got our EV mode, your auto hold, parking brake, stability control. More storage here with the USBs. Nice trim on the top, by the way. And yeah, the interior on this XLE is actually really nice. Pretty big glove box. And then we do have another sunroof up front, so 2 sunroofs. Now the reason this XLE is fancy is because of a few of the options that this particular one has, like the glass roof and everything. But a lot of stuff is actually standard with the XLE that makes it nice at that, you know, base $32,000 price. But anyways, $37,172 is the total MSRP. So if you want one that's super fancy pants like this, it's a little bit more than that $32K starting. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Visibility over the hood, both mirrors do a blind spot monitoring for the rest of the rear. and let us set off in the Prius, the coolest car ever made, the sportiest. I'm just kidding, I'm being silly, but I really do like the Prius. It is a really solid offering. Again, this has some fancy stuff that isn't necessary, like take out the sunroof, take out the bigger screen. You don't need that stuff. You get an all-wheel drive XLE Prius, and I mean, think about this. Just over, I mean, you probably want a couple options this has. So think about, like, I don't know, one that's at probably like 30, mid 30, let's say like 33, 34 grand. 33, 34 grand, a car that gets 50 miles per gallon, all-wheel drive, decent cargo space, comfortable. I mean, it's so cool. It's a really cool setup. But yeah, in terms of the ride quality, it's smooth. It's not like a luxury car by any means, but it gets the job done. Again, this, I cannot see the gauge. Maybe if I put the steering wheel, yeah, so if I have to put the steering wheel all the way down, and then I can see, yeah, most of the gauge cluster, not all of it. I mean, like, this gauge cluster, as stupid as it sounds, would almost, maybe this is Toyota's whole plot. This gauge cluster would almost convince me to buy a Camry hybrid instead of this, just so that I wouldn't have to deal with this. As stupid as that sounds. It's just annoying. But yeah, great power. Super, super smooth. And Toyota's hybrids are really sharp, because what they do with them is they make it so that the transition between the engine going on and off very seamless. And so it leads to what I would say is a really positive driving experience. Like right now, the engine's off. As I was saying, with the hybrid system, it's really seamless. Like I can hear that the system is off, but in terms of how what you feel, you actually don't really notice. Like you press down and boom, you get acceleration. It's not like a plug-in hybrid where there's a big lag. Toyota does, like I said, they do a really good job with how the powertrain performs. And a big part of that is where they place everything, right? They've really thought this through with where they have the engine in relation to the electric motor and all of it. I mean, it's really cool stuff with what they've done. So, to sum things up, I think I just ate a tumbleweed. To sum things up with the Toyota Prius, it was a mini one, so it's okay. Not the big ones I get out of my house. It looks really cool for a Prius. It drives really well. It's got solid acceleration as well. Again, it's quick. It is super quick for what it is. And the powertrain's seamless. I'm kind of, man, I feel like I'm becoming a hybrid cultist. But I don't know, I'm kind of sold on these traditional hybrids because you get better. This is, I mean, 50 miles per gallon is super good when it comes to fuel economy. So you get really good fuel economy, and you don't, like, there's no downside to this. It actually drives better than an ICE car. So like, the reason I would say this is because Toyota does sell cars that, like the Tundra, the Tacoma, that have a powertrain you can get is just ICE, or you can get a hybrid, and the hybrids just drive better. There's like no downsides. Like, you get better fuel economy, and it is a better driving experience. So yeah, I think that with this Prius, reliable powertrain, there's really no downsides to it. Let me know if you disagree with me, but that's all.